this. So, all right. So we're going to start the session here on using rubrics and for performance-based assessments in all-in learning. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my lessons and assessments here, and I'm going to go to the Rubric Library. So you may have some that are there depending on your district. Some districts have loaded in the state writing rubric, for example, and then shared it with all of the middle schools or all of the elementary schools, et cetera. If you don't have anything in here, it's no big deal. So you can create your own, and that's what I'm going to do here to start out. And so if I didn't have anything in there, then I would just say create a rubric. Okay. So if you're doing projects, if you're evaluating art or some type of a music submission, music that students would submit to you for evaluation. So this is now it's a blank canvas here in terms of what you want to put in here. So I'm just going to use my call this an example rubric. I would select my grade. I would select this, a subject. So maybe this is art and music. Maybe it's a social studies. Maybe this is a science rubric that we could use, et cetera. And I'll just say practice here, and I'm going to click next. All right. So we default this to a 4x4 rubric. I think we tried to pick something that was as common as possible. So we've got this set up. Now, though, I found a rubric here before I started. I would just kind of went out and Googled for it. And what I'm going to do is I've got it. This is an ABC book rubric. So you'll see here, I've got 5 categories. All right. So I started out with 4. So I'm going to actually add another row here. All right, now when you see this, you'll see that you get the sad face here because the percentages have to add up to 100. They do not have to be equal, all right? So I can have certain categories count more than others, but the total can't be more than 100. So I'm just gonna drop all these down. I'm gonna make this one worth 30 and this one worth 10. And this one worth 20. That should get me to 100. Hey, all right. So I was able to do math there. Now back to my rubric that I was just looking at. All right. This has 1, 2, 3 categories. All right, or columns. So I'm gonna get rid of one of these. All right. So it's got 3. Now the way that this one was set up is it went a 5, a 4, and a 3. All right, so then what I can do is I can hop in here, and I'm not going to create this whole thing, but I want you to see really how simple this is to use. And so I'm going to resize it here just a little bit. All right, and so this is appearance and neatness. So I'm just going to select that and copy it and come over here and paste it. All right, so then I can come down here and kind of repeat the process here. So that's content knowledge. So I could type that in if I wanted to. So I would just say content knowledge. And then over here, up here at the top, I'm going to do kind of the same idea. Here's an exemplar. And I put 5 there. And then I can go right here. And then what was the next one here? It says developed. And that's a 4. So you begin to get the idea here, okay? Again, I'm not going to put you through me copying and pasting all of this information in, but any of these here, if you look, this may be something that's just so you can see this, all right? So now I've copied and pasted that in. So the two things to kind of consider in constructing this, all right? One is your, what you need, so making sure that the numbers add up and everything else. So this is something that's, again, that's easy to do in all in learning. We force you to, to the 100 percentage points over on the left hand side here in terms of the columns. So that's one of the things, and how you choose to weight those is completely your call. So you're not stuck into each of those categories being even. This is when we go to look at a rubric here in just a minute. This is what you'll see when you're evaluating the student work. So there's kind of two different ways to think about this. If you're not familiar with the rubric, you having the text there and reading that might be helpful, right? So you're saying, okay, what does a 5 look like in appearance and neatness? Well, there it is. What does a 5 look like in content knowledge? Well, there's that description, okay? Now, keep in mind that when you grade this and when you score a student's work and then you share it with them, this is the text that they're going to see. So whatever you put in here is the text that the students will see, okay? So we've had, I've worked with some school districts and they say, can we do a kid version of the rubric or a student version of the rubric that would be more, they would understand this a little bit better? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. As long as you know what each of these means, it's not important that you be able to sit there and read that. You may have that in a Word doc or a Google doc or on a website out there that has that rubric. But if the rubric, I know that like on a lot of the state rubric, the writing rubrics that they have, they're more for teachers to unpack kind of that piece. It's less student friendly. So if you wanted to do a student friendly version of the text that goes in here, that's just a consideration, all right? Because they're going to see, oh, I got a 3 in appearance and neatness, and here's why. So if you don't think that this would make sense to them, then you would put something in there that would make sense to them. Here's why you got a 3, or here's why you got a 4, or here's why you got a 5. So that's just a consideration here, all right? So you can, again, I'm not going to go in and do all this block by block here, but you have the ability to type that in. You have the ability to copy and paste it in. When you're done, I'm going to click Save and Close. All right. So there is that rubric that I just created. All right. Now I've got some options here. So I'm going to get this out of the way. I'm going to pull this over here so it's easier to see. All right. And so I've got an actions button here, and I can I can click in and edit it. I can edit the properties. All right. So that's the name and the description, etc. I can share it. All right. So where can I share it? Well, I can share this with other teachers at my campus. Okay. So if other teachers are going to use this, only one of us has to create that rubric. Okay. If you wanted to preview it, so I'm going to use this English 1 up here and say view. I can view it, and I see the points possible. I see the different categories. I see the criteria up here, and then I see just the description of what a 4 is in each of those categories, what a 3 is, and so on. Okay, so you can print this. So if I go in and say print, I could save this and share it with the students so they know how they're going to be graded. Again, this isn't anything that's necessarily rocket science as it relates to all in learning, but you may be sharing with the students already. But this is a way for us to, again, to communicate with the students. Here's how this is going to work. So there's there are a couple of options there. If I need to delete it, I can delete it. So again, if we're not sure what it is, we can click in there and hit view. So that, here's one that I started. I didn't finish it, but here's how this started. So, and again, you see the points possible in each of these, right? So we see how that one was weighted. Okay, so there's a creation. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this English 1 expository writing rubric, all right, and we're going to create an assessment with it. Okay, so I'm going to go to my assessments. Now, there's a couple of ways to do this, all right? So if you have a big project, your quote unquote assessment may just be this one rubric. You may have the students write a short essay at the end of an assessment that has multiple choice and short answer in it. Or this could be, if all that this is a science project, you're creating the science project. So you're creating the assessment that would be the science project, and we'll attach the rubric to it. So all of those are in play, all right, for this. So it's totally dependent upon you and how you want to use this. So I'm going to select Create New here, and I'm going to do Build a Student Work with the rubric. All right. So now I'm going to give this. This is the essay on Romeo and Juliet. So we're just going to set it up like that. This is our 9th grade language arts. And this is essay. I'll just put essay right here and click next. So once you create that, okay, we let you know, hey, you got to select the rubric to grade this question. So I'm going to click OK there. So I'm going to give, if the students were, if I was giving them a writing prompt and they only had a certain amount of time to create this, and I may say, write an essay, and you may have to define what that is, on the major themes of Romeo and Juliet. All right, I can add standards to this to this if I want to. So I can go in and add a writing standard, etc. And then I've got to add the rubric. So when I click that, we go and look at the rubrics that are in your rubrics library. So if I didn't know which one it was, I can click on it. Well, I just clicked on it there. So let's go back and look at it again. So if I wanted to preview it, I could. All right. I say, oh yeah, well that, I wanted to, let me look at this 3rd grade one, which I wouldn't do, but so there's the 3rd grade rubric. Nope, the one that I want is, I'm going to select this one here. Okay. We got a bug in this. So right now there's not an option for the students to view the rubric with the assessment. So you would need to provide that to them in a Google Doc or in some other way. They are going to be able to see their grades afterwards in the rubric, but right now we don't have that. That's not working. It is something that's on our fixed list. All right. You have other ways to share it with them. Just so anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go back to my lessons and assessments. Okay. So I've created that essay on Romeo and Juliet. I can share this with other teachers, and if you've been in our other sessions, you can distribute it, or you can get the embed link and share it with other teachers, or we can post it for students to take too. All right. So I'm going to click Activate, and I'm going to post this to the student portal for this class. And then you got to provide us with the settings. So I don't recommend kicking the students out on this. There's no scramble. I wouldn't give them any feedback on this either, because it's going to be turned in ungraded. All right. So I'm going to click Next, and I'm going to click Activate. All right. So the students in their accounts, what they can do, let me get rid of this right here. So what the students can do is they can, I'm going to go here and log in as a student. So we're going to log in as Tom here. And there's the essay on Romeo and Juliet. So I'm going to, the teacher said, hey, you know, we're doing the essay today. If it's a writing, if it's something that is timed, or if it's something that's not timed, we're not doing it at a specific time. They have a few days to turn it in. That's completely, you know, how you're executing that writing assignment, etc. That's completely your call. So this is, so here are the instructions, right? Write an essay. So you'll see here on the student work, all right, there are a couple of options here. There's an upload file. So if the students have actually written a Word document, they could, you know, there's the upload file. There's the, we can link to a Google Doc, or we can type in the work. So if this is more of a writing prompt, if you will, okay, then, and they're doing it more in a compressed time frame, then you could just, they could just type in their work and upload it. All right. If it's more of a something that they've been working on, so they've created a Google Doc or a file, well, they can just they can just go and link to it. So I'm going to hop into my Google account here, hopefully, if Google cooperates. All right, so now I'm going to search for Romeo and Juliet. So there's my essay on Romeo and Juliet. I think I selected it. So it's uploading that now. So it says your work has been submitted. All right, so I'll say great. I'll say show summary. I can view the question. I can, or I can say I'm finished. So Tom is now finished with that, right? And he can go to the home screen. All right, so he's finished that. So on the teacher side, I see Tom here. I see that he's turned in his essay. Now he's got a 0 because rubrics are different. We've got to go in and grade it. So I can view the student work. All right. And so here's the essay on Romeo and Juliet that he wrote. Okay. You'll see there's an option to download the file if I want to. Right now, we don't have an annotation or a feedback capability within this on marking this up. All right, so that's something that we're certainly looking at for the future, but it's not here right now. So, but I can read this, and then when I go to the rubric here, I'm going to select the rubric. And so I've already graded this in my head. So now all I'm doing is I'm clicking in to provide his grade. His supporting evidence was not that strong, but his language is okay. So you'll see here, he got 9 out of the 16 points, all right? So I'm gonna click save and close. Now for other students, all right, I can, if they did not submit it via All in Learning, all right, so if a student if they wrote it and turned it in to me, or they emailed it to me, all right, then I've got that pulled up in that other platform, you know, either it's, you know, written out, typed out, printed out, etc., or it's digital. I just click on the rubric there, and as I'm reading it, I can say, okay, Drew, so Drew did pretty good on that. Charles, I'm not going to show this message again. All right, so I can click rubric here. All right. So when I click on Penelope here, she got 4s across the board. All right. Luca, I think he struggled on it. All right. So you get the idea here, right? So this is why I'm not doing this every day, but when it's time to do this, I've got a great tool. So we're gonna click in session, all right, and pretend like we've graded all these. So first of all, I've got a score here that I can take into my gradebook. So you've graded essays, you've graded evaluated student work. Well, it's nice to know that at the end, after I've graded that, I don't have to hand enter all of that into the gradebook. All right, so we work with most of your gradebooks. And you can click on support, and I can type in gradebook there. All right, and so you'll see we've got gradebook export options. And so your gradebook is here. These grades you don't have to hand enter manually into the gradebook. We have an export and import capability with those gradebooks, and so we're saving time there. So when I click in session and OK, of course it's writing the data to the reports for me. I'm going to go down here to, I want to say I've got more in this one. Okay, yeah, so I graded more on this one. So this one's a better example to look at, all right? So I can see the students, their scores here, all right? So here's what I want you to see. When you open this, all right, this is the student, this is where you normally come in and can see the grades. So there's student feedback pieces here. And when I click the student feedback by question, all right, I'm gonna select all students and post this to the portal, all right? You want to show the correct answer, I'm gonna say confirm, all right? And so now the students and their accounts are going to be able to see the feedback. So again, you spend all the time grading that, and now I want to let the students know here's how you did. So if they're in class, physically in class, well, I'm not shuffling paper around to do this per se. I click the button and they can see that. All right, I don't have to print this out, but you can print it out if you want to. But if you don't want to, that's fine. You can post it to the student portal. If we're virtual, if the students are at home, well, this is a home run for me now. Okay, so so that's one of the things that we can look at. When I go to the item analysis here, all right, I can look at the graded rubric for each of the students if I want to. Okay. When I go to this item analysis at the top, okay, so this is this shows us the criteria here for each of the different categories, the points that we earned in each of the different categories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click View Rubric here. All right. So what does this tell me right here? Well, this is grading the whole class, and it says that our highest score average was on language. Our lowest average was on organization, all right? So when I click here, there were no students that got a 4 on organization. Here are the students that got a 3. So do you see that right there? Here are the students that got a 2. You see that right there. And then Tom got a 1. All right, so we're grouping. So we've got a big group of kids here that struggled on organization. So that tells me we've got some work to do, and I've got an opportunity, ways that I can work with these students right here on being more organized in writing an essay. Okay, so you're not just going through the motions of grading it and having nothing on the other side of this. We have a way to easily get it into your gradebook, 1, but then 2, now you've got this organized, so you know which students need help on each of these different categories. All right. So on the student side, what the students do is they log into their account. All right, and then they can, hold on one second here. They can log into their account, all right, and they click on reports and they click on sessions. Okay, so the sessions is where the data is. So I click on Tom, a good man is hard to find there. So they wrote the essay on that short story. And then Tom can click on, he sees the standard, create mental images to deepen understanding. That's what that standard is. And then he sees his rubric. Okay, so he sees how he did in each of these categories. So when I was talking a little bit earlier, and I said the think about the rubrics in a couple of ways, right? What you need to know, but then what would be most helpful for the students to know coming out of this. So if this is very technical, all right, and the students understand technical, and we're on the same page there, fantastic. If it's too technical and you need to make it easier for the students to understand, well, you can modify the rubric to make it, again, more student friendly in this text right here. All right. And then that way they know, oh, okay, when I got a 1 here, all right. So I would, if my students, for example, didn't know what coherently was, I wouldn't use coherently for just as an example on the student side. So that's just a consideration. When you're think of your audience, think of what's going to help you and help them the most. And the technical one that you get from the district may be, or from the state, for that rubric may be a good one. It may not be. It's totally your call. All right. So in this piece right here, we're just trying to get you a tool that can make this process, make it grading it easier, make it something that you can standardize around as a team. All right. So if you've got a group of writing teachers and we want to focus on that this year, well, we've got a way to do that. You can use our portal to for the students to submit their work. If you don't want to use our portal, they can submit it like they always do, but you've got your grading instrument now to an easy way to grade it. I can do this on my phone. All right. So if I've got my papers and I've got to, well, normally I would say in the past, I would say I need to go to the doctor's office, I need to go to the soccer game, whatever. We don't want to go to either one of those places. All right. So we're going to, so I can sit here with my phone, and I can sit here with the papers on my back porch, wherever it is that I'm grading these, and I can just punch it in on my phone too. So I can grade just like that there as well. So that's the more elaborate, and I would say what people would define a normal rubric as. I want to show you another quick example here of the rubric, and you may have seen this in some of the. I added this to some of the webinars recently in the last few weeks. So what I'm going to do here is I've got this math homework assessment. So I gave the students, so I want to see their work. Okay. I'm going to evaluate their work. All right. They can get the question right or wrong, but there's an evaluation piece that they're going to turn in, and I'm going to give them full credit for that. So the example that I've been doing here, let me see if I can get it pulled up, is this one here. So I've given the students instructions in Google Classroom or It's Learning or Canvas, whatever we're using. All right. So there are your instructions. So I tell them to solve the problems, and then to receive full credit, they're going to take a picture of their work. They're going to upload it along with the problems here. So now we're into math, we're into science, we're into anything where they're providing work where we want to see the student work. Okay. And that can be writing too. So writing can fall into this. So so the ability to evaluate, I think that's going to be a nice, it's always, I mean, it's something that's been just part of the daily rhythm. You're looking at the students' work constantly, but this fall, that may not be the case. So All I'm Learning can help with that. All right. So I've given them the instructions here. So I've set up a lesson in All I'm Learning. And I'm just going to show it to you here. I'm going to do the slideshow so you can see what it is. So so this was the problem that I gave them, all right? I've had them solve it, but what I'm gonna do is I'll have the students click in their answer, all right? So I don't want to, I'm gonna look at their work still, but I don't wanna have to go and grade all these problems. So if I've got 150 kids, all right, I'm gonna let all Unlearning do the hard work of grading those 300 problems, all right? But I'm gonna check their work. So I give them answers here. So we're solving a couple of algebra problems here. This question here is the simple slider. So let me show you. If I were gonna do this from scratch, I would say create new. And I'm just gonna do a custom lesson and assessment here. So you can see this. So I'm gonna say math problems with slider, all right? So just so it's very clear what we're doing. So this is 6th grade math, I think, I'm not sure. And click next. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna insert just a slide here, and it's got content on it, right? So this is where I say, solve for X, and what was it, for, what was it, 4X plus 5 equals 12, all right? Then I come down here and I say A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is not here, all right? And so I'm just going to make that easier to see, all right? I'm going to convert this question, convert that slide to a question. I'm gonna click on the correct answer, all right? I can add the standard if I want to, all right? So I'm just gonna, to make this easy for me, I'm gonna duplicate that slide. I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna say 4x plus 8 equals 20, all right? And I go 1, 2, 5 and not here, and I click on the correct answer, all right? So those are my 2 math problems. So I started out, I gave them 2 problems to solve. They're gonna solve them on a piece of paper. They're gonna log into All in Learning. They're going to enter their answers here. And then the third question that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this an actual question, and I'm gonna use student work graded with the simple slider, okay? So I'm gonna say upload pictures of you solving the last 2 problems to receive full credit. All right, I could add the standard if I wanted to, and then I'm gonna say each of those 2 problems is worth 6 points. So they get a point for reading the directions, they get a point for showing their work, they get a point for getting it right. So each problem is worth 3, so I'm gonna give them 6 points total here, okay? So another caveat is each of those questions comes in weighted equally. If I wanna modify that at all, if I say, it's just as important to me that you do the work, I'm gonna make this worth 50%, all right? So correct answer, but you turn in your work. If you don't turn in anything, you're gonna get a 0, you're gonna get a 50 if you get both of the questions right, okay? So just, you turn in your work, and we're good to go here, all right? So I'm using that. So this is, again, this is performance based. We're trying to work this into the mix here, but it's not the elaborate rubric where I'm grading every single piece here. So now I'm gonna say activate, and I'm gonna post this to the student portal for this class, all right? So I'm gonna click next and activate. So I'm gonna slide over here as a student. I'm gonna click on the lessons and assessments. There's a math problems with slider. So Tom's, I've already answered these questions. So all I'm doing now is I'm clicking in my answers. So I solved that question already. I solved this question already. And then I go to question 3. So here is it where I get the instructions to upload the pictures, all right? So here's what I want you to see. Under submit your work, there's a type in work, Google Doc, and upload file. When I click type in work here, all right, there's an option there that says insert image. So I'm going to click that insert image, and I'm going to click on the 2 math problems that I took pictures of, and I upload those. All right, and then I say upload work.
Can other students see that and copy the same thing?
Say that again now, Teresa.
Can other students see their other students' works and they just say, oh, I just copy what they have and send it in?
If they are not in All in Learning, they can't unless I give you my username and password.
Okay.
If they are, I can take a picture of what I did, send it to you. You could write it in your own handwriting, hold it up, and take a picture of it. I don't have a. Unfortunately, I don't have a way around that, solving that issue on the student work there. But they are uploading it. They are taking pictures. I may have them. I need to see your face with that picture when I take it, so that I know that it's you. So there's some things that you can do to make sure that it's, that it's the actual student. And so what I have here on the side, so here's Tom. All right, so you'll see he got the first question right. He missed the second question. I'm going to go in and view the student work here. All right, so I can see him solving those problems. I think I typed one of them in wrong, but now I can just move the slider to the appropriate level that he got. So if he got 5 out of the 6 points, great. You'll see there that he got a 67 on this activity. All right. So if a student doesn't turn in any work, I go to view student work, or there's no work turned in, I can just drop that down to a 0. All right. That's part of how you get credit is turning in your work. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You bet. Thank you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to answer questions. All right. I'm going to stop the recording as well. So we will get this. This was what I intended to show. So I think we're going to do this with I'm going to get this into our student, into the YouTube channel. So I'm going to, let me